Hello and welcome to Furious Driving, into a new feature which, despite evidence to the contrary, I'm going to call interesting and exciting. Yes, this is the all-new breaking news. Breaking in the sense of some of the stuff is broken and I'm going to tell you which ones it is. There's the news. Right, okay, despite the sun, it's actually really windy and surprisingly cold considering it's mid-April. So I've come underneath the car shelter. Hopefully it'll be a little bit less windy and I'm not going to get any too much wind noise interruption under here. It probably won't make any difference, but there you go. Anyway, as I was saying, with the general furious fleet, and as we've now got nearly 20 cars, it is very much a fleet. There's always something going on with the cars, something not right, something broken, and a lot of these things aren't really big enough to include as a mainstay of an entire video, or it's going to be too long until that car gets another video entirely on its own in which to include it, or it's not irrelevant to the main storyline of the next video involving that car. And as I say, always something that needs to be done, little bits and pieces. Maybe going back a few years before this channel kind of grew big, having to do all the discs and pads on one of the everyday cars might have been a video content idea. But these days, when we've got bigger fish to fry, that's not really going to cut it in terms of content ideas for an entire video changing the discs and pads on the everyday Mercedes, which is something I need to do at the moment. So this is the perfect place for it. All the little bits and pieces which gather up across the month, doing bits and bobs on across all the cars, bring them all in and do all the little jobs in one video. And of course this will be done bit by bit throughout the month. Obviously I'm not going to spend an entire day, I'm not going to fix that broken tail light until the 24th because I've got a day of filming, and I'll just do stuff and then do it and edit it together. You won't even notice a thing. And of course the other thing is the longer term projects, cars that are going to be off camera for a while because there's lots of stuff to do on them in between videos, sourcing parts, waiting for people to do jobs, that kind of thing. Or even just very, very long term things like the W123 and the Rover 400 Estate. People are constantly asking me what's happening with that car, just emails even and direct messages, and so save me a lot of answering those questions. I can give you little updates on the cars that aren't particularly on camera or going to be for a little while. So here we are under the shelter with some cars waiting work I can talk to you about and tell you what's going on with them, and then we'll do a few little jobs on other cars and give you an up-to-date thing on the state of what's going on, the state of the fleet address. Now, normally I do an annual or biannual update on the entire fleet, but this is more focused with a little bit of tinkering as well. So this is the new breaking news feature, as I was saying. So let's start where we are under the shelter with some astonishingly dirty cars. Considering these cars haven't driven anywhere and they've been undercover, I am shocked at how dirty these things are. We get this real problem with Saharan sand blowing in down here. And this poor MX5 and this poor Rover 75 are absolutely filthy. I washed them and put them away clean and they've just got disgusting. So I need to go and wash them again. Let me tell you about these cars. MX5 Roadster, sorry. I won't tell you much about this car because this is going to be the focus of the next video, I reckon, coming out on the channel. We've got welding, we've got a few odds and sods. Going to be ready for summertime, looking extremely nice. Better, in fact, than it has done before. So stay tuned for MX5 stuff. I won't tell you more about this one though because that's only a week away. Let's talk more about this one, this little problem child here, the 75. Right now, Cyril, the 75, this has been more of an ongoing issue. Obviously you saw the video a couple of weeks ago when I got stranded and then changed the cam sensor and then the crank sensor, or vice versa, and it's been throwing up problem after problem. I did have a potential buyer. Luckily, in a way, he pulled out because it wasn't fixed as I thought it was, so it would have left him stranded and upset and very annoyed at me. But no, the car is remaining unfixed. We've got a number of avenues. A few people have commented a few very good ideas indeed, and I'm following up on those at the moment. I'm going to go into more detail in this in the next video on this car, but that could be a little while away still. Saying could be the timing's out because I've got a new timing belt on it, and I countered in my head, well, that's not going to be the case because I took the timing belt off and put it back on again. And so I know it's going to be right, although I took the old timing belt off, locked everything in place obviously, and put the new one in exactly the same position. So if it had been out before, it's still out now with the new timing belt. So it could be when it had a new head on it, 2019 I think it was, under the previous owner's stewardship, the previous garage might have put it on incorrectly, and I've just followed and copied their mistake. So I need to look into that. However, I think it's more likely to be ECU. So ECU is currently not in the car. Currently that is being checked. Thank you, Philip. So we'll find out shortly whether it needs a new ECU or whether it needs further investigation and wiring loom issues. Either way, it's still an absolutely beautiful car and a lovely thing to look at and to sit in. So there is that at least. It looks nice on the driveway, but it's currently not drivable. But that is the state of the Rover 75. It is an ongoing investigation. So yeah, not great. What's that? More Rover content you'd like? Well, don't worry, here we got the 220 Coupe, the Tomcat. Fantastic thing, recently passed its MOT after being off the road for absolutely ages after the big head gasket outside the engine leak that was fixed. Runs again, but it did have this squeaky bindy brake in a recent video. Since then I have taken the caliper off again and stripped it down a second time. It's still binding a little bit, not as badly, but still a bit. And the chrome is kind of flaky on the piston on the bit you can see, so I think it's time for a new one. I've basically been waiting on a video sponsor who wanted to do something with the channel, and they said they would supply one, but they haven't come through yet because obviously these things take a little bit of time in the back. And so I would like to have the car doing more journeys and things, but I really can't at the moment. I mean, you might be thinking it's only a caliper, it's only sort of 70 or 80 quid, but then there's a lot of cars needing 70s and 80 pounds, so kind of have to wait every now and then to get whatever little bonuses we can. So that hopefully will be done very, very soon indeed. And then the rest of the car can be sorted out. It needs a little bit of an interior makeover. It needs the dashboard wood needs relacquering, and the headlining needs replacing. That's currently in the barn waiting to go in, so we'll do that very soon and get that interior looking a little bit nicer as well. Then I can sort out the terrible paint. In fact, it needs an entirely new bonnet. These things rust on the inner side. So yeah, that's not something I've done. We've ventured into things I want to do, but yeah, we'll go on to things that I've actually done. This is Mrs. Furious's Mini Cooper, which she put some serious miles on, to be honest. It's had a little bit of love recently, but it's again just ordinary run-of-the-mill stuff. It's had an oil and filter service here at home, it's had front discs and pads here at home, and it's had an MOT, and the MOT found that this wheel, the caliper, was sticking just a tiny bit, so that caliper's been off a second time and then had a bit of a clean up, and it seems to be okay again now, thankfully. Touch large lump of wood. And what else do we have done? Oh yeah, this had a slow puncture which had a screw in it, so this car has very likely been in the wars, but nothing serious and nothing really major content worthy as far as stuff going, but the thing keeps on going on. This has got some serious miles in it for a car that's 2019. Well, that is 6 years old, isn't it? Crikey. Right, that one. That dinging, that's the sound of freedom, because it's an American car, so yeah. It dings at you to tell you how lucky you are. I'm lucky in this case to know that I've got an engine check light on, or check engine light on, and I don't know why. I've not got a computer here that will currently talk to it. I need to go and find one, but everything seems to be okay. A couple of weeks ago when this came on, it was struggling to start a little bit. I don't know if it was bad fuel or what, but it seems absolutely fine again now, but the check engine light has remained on. Other than that, this thing is all good. But back in Blighty, in the land of tiny cars that are small enough to fit on the bonnet of this big old Crown Victoria, the 1969 Morris Mini project has moved on at last. For a long time, it's been on its belly on pallets, on car stuffings, so it can be shuffled around, not giving me access to get underneath it, and it's got covered in thick underseal. So thankfully, and a big thank you to Chris for helping me out with this, finally got it on the rotisserie thing so I can spin it upside down and crack on with the underside of that car. I had previously spent an afternoon getting all the brackets and things bolted into it, but it took two people, a trolley jack, and lots of luck and cross fingers to get that thing up in the air. But that means now finally I can crack on. I did go and get a hot air gun thing to start attacking the nasty thick underseal underneath it, but that's really what's been holding that project up. It's because, well, I just couldn't do any more in there because the underseal was just coating everything in like 30 or 40 or 50 years of repeated coatings, and it's going to take a lot of scraping. I'm honestly not looking forward to that. So now we come to our favourite car, the Rover P6 2000, 1972, big chunk of loveliness. Now, before I do tell you about this car, I'll mention quickly the 420 Tourer, the Rover 400 Estate. That is still with the paint shop. It's currently very much Schrodinger's 400 because As far as I know, they haven't started it, but if I go and ask them, they will start it. And if I make them start it, then they're going to want to make me give them money, and then when they're going to finish it, and I'm going to find somewhere to put it. So at the moment, it's quite a happy state of equilibrium where the car is happy in existence, it's safe, it's not been painted, and it's not here, and I haven't got to pay for it. So currently, everything's fine, and I don't want to disturb this little state of equilibrium until something else is sold and I've got a place to put it. And the fact that the 75 is unsellable as it doesn't drive is causing a bit of a crimp in that plan. Likewise, the Mercedes W123. I get questions about that one fairly frequently as well. What's happening with that? Currently it's down with 6D diesels. They don't own it, I still own it. It is very much a shell with an engine and stripped out interior. They are going to weld it at some point. They're going to want some money for that as well. And so very much the same situation applies. As long as I don't ask about it and I know it's safe, we're all fine. In the meantime though, yeah, I'd love to have it back, but I've got nowhere to put it. So unless a car parking option opens up for that car, I'm happy for it to stay down there, and I'm not going to push for it. It'd be lovely to have it back, but where am I going to park it? That is an issue. Anyway, so yes, then we've got this car, the Rover 2000. Now this one we put back on the road in a little kind of gentle recommissioning episode a few weeks ago, and it was fantastic, but I did find that the seatbelt wouldn't work, and I kind of forgot about that. So I'm out here in the garage with the Rover 2000, the car with no name, because I don't really name my cars that much, but sometimes I do, not that frequently. Anyway, there's a certain amount of recommissioning work on this car in the previous videos. It doesn't really need a lot, it's just been stood around for a long time, runs lovely. I was going to go and take it out the other day, and I moved the Crown Victoria out of the way, wound the door up, because that door, it's slightly sitting on the wonk because the hinges broke, and I tried to fix it without the hinges being properly there, and it basically have to manually wind it. It's a big effort. So got the car out, went to go and drive off to go and do the school run and the thing, and discovered the reason I've not been using it, or was reminded that the reason I've not been using it, is because the seatbelt was completely nutty jammed and I couldn't move it. So I wound up taking the seatbelt out, fiddling with it, couldn't fix it. I did try putting an old one I found in there, but it was so chunky compared to the newer one that I couldn't actually wind the seat back far enough to do it. This is a Series 1.5 Rover P6 if you're bothered by such intricacies, and that means it's got Series 1 style seats with little cutouts for the inertia wheel seatbelt, and that was a far too chunkier seatbelt. Fortunately, I had kept the boxes for what I got all those years ago, and I changed them about 2 or 15 years back, maybe a little longer in fact, and they were Securon 500/30s. Was being told off by Mrs. Furious for keeping boxes for things. Who's laughing now? I knew exactly what to buy, went onto eBay, found it for £34, delivered, fantastic. And so I now have, on the floor in the back of this car, a new Securon 500/30, which with just 3 bolts I can fit in. So you need 1 bolt at the bottom, 1 bolt at the top, haspy claspy thing back in there. Then we'll have a car we can drive around in. There's nothing wrong with the car, I just can't be fastened into it. So there we go, we got ourselves a new Securon seatbelt in there. There we go, we have got ourselves an actual functioning seatbelt again, which means I can take the car for a drive. I won't though, because it's 9:30 at night, and yeah, I need to move like 9 things. So fantastic, I can use the Rover 2000 again. Yay! Next problem, please. So now, once again, the car has got a seatbelt in it, and I can take it for a drive. It's a lovely day. I'll probably go and take it just anywhere later on, just for the sheer hell of it, because it's fabulous. And that really only leaves one other car with stuff going on at the moment that I need to be telling you about, because it's an ongoing project which you're going to see again very soon indeed, but I haven't been able to get onto because of parts and things. And that is the Alpha 159, which is becoming incredibly popular in terms of views and comments, and everyone seemed to quite like it. Last video, it started, it ran, it drove around the yard around Jamie's place. That was all good. Trouble is though, I had a little bit of shopping in putting the engine in. We found a couple of more little issues, and when Jamie went to go move the car, one of those perished front tyres actually burst on him. So Hippo's been back out in action again. Luckily there was a spare wheel in the boot, and Jamie, being an Italian car garage guy, the car is now transferred onto a pair of Space Saver wheels, and I was able to run away with its 17-inch alloys in Hippo and go and get them fitted with brand new Falcon tyres, which I can't pronounce, but I'm sure from the reviews are going to be good. But I have got the step below in the range on the 200 VI and on the MX5, and they're brilliant. So hopefully they're going to be absolutely perfect on the Alpha 159. So we'll get to find that out fairly shortly indeed. And that, I think, is what's broken this week. And been fixed. Slightly. Okay, so that's all of the current, up-to-date things that have broken, things that are fixed, things that are about to be fixed type stuff, I think. The one honourable mention which didn't get into this particular episode is going and checking out the Volvo 740, which passed its last MOT with an advisory for a previous rust repair in the floor, looking like it needed some more attention. That was a year ago, in fact over a year ago, because I hadn't really noticed the MOT had run out and it's been blocked in at the back of the barn for quite a long time. So I don't think that car's done very many miles since its last MOT. Which is a bit embarrassing really. So yeah, next episode on that car will be digging it out, finding out how bad the rust actually is. Hoping not too bad, because I don't want to do more welding. But yeah, so here we are, sat again in the P6 2000, because it's one of the nicest places you can ever find yourself, and I'm absolutely looking forward more than anything else to getting out across the summertime now and taking this car for a drive. In fact, I've got to go to the gym this afternoon. I'm going to take this one. Decision has been made. Fantastic. Right, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe as usual, that kind of gubbins, and we'll see you again next time with the I think the UNOS Roadster. That deserves some screen time, so that'll be out in a little while. Right, thank you and good night. Enjoy your Easter holidays.